So I don't know about y'all, but in high school with all the boys in my class, like one of the most common jokes we would make is about having a small wiener. And not telling our friends that they have small wieners, we would actually tell them that they have big wieners, and we would joke about how our wieners are small. I know this doesn't sound like it relates to the title, but hear me out. Throughout all high school, we'd be like, oh dude, your wiener's so big and mine's so small. Which looking back is kind of like weird beta self-deprecating humor, but it was funny at the time. But anyways, I was having a conversation with an old friend of mine, and we were talking about that, and I would just jokingly say like, oh dude, if only our parents fed us better, we'd have freaking massive wieners. And it kind of dawned on me. I made a whole video about how modern society is making men weak, but I haven't really talked about how both, I'm sure, my own was affected and how millions of kids' puberties are affected. Looking back at my childhood, I can remember my breakfast either typically being nothing or a honey bun, which let's look up the nutrient value of a honey bun real quick. All right, so one pastry, 460 calories, 30 grams of sugar. Holy shit. I did not know there was this many ingredients in a honey bun. I'm gonna flash this on the screen, but just popping out, I see corn syrup, I see seed oils. It's just garbage, essentially. And at the bottom, partially produced with genetic engineering, very cool. And I'm not knocking anyone, especially my own mother. We just didn't have it like that, you know? So breakfast would be a honey buns, or we could choose between the Little Debbie. We had a bag of the powdered sugar donuts or the chocolate donuts. I didn't take any vitamins. If I did, it might have been the occasional gummy vitamin that was probably like 1% bioavailable. And you know, fast food, McDonald's. I remember being an absolute fiend for tacos from Jack in the Box. Taco Bell, once we moved to a smaller town, it was really just Sonic and Dairy Queen. But you know what I'm saying, it's all just shit. Foods that have barely any nutritional value, they're loaded with seed oils, they're loaded with chemicals, things that disrupt your hormones. And I'm not saying that's every single meal. We did have occasionally mom makes dinner, or we go to our grandparents, or we go to a restaurant. But for the most part, it wasn't good. And imagine in your childhood, your developing years, especially through puberty, that is the food you're giving. That is the base you are laying. I'm sure myself and millions of other kids grew up and hit puberty deficient in probably multiple vitamins and minerals. And I haven't even mentioned stuff like soaps that I lather myself with every morning that contain direct hormone disrupting chemicals that get absorbed in my skin. With the fact that by the time I was getting into middle school, I was already fully addicted to video games. I just wanted to be inside and play Call of Duty all day. So I wasn't out touching grass, I wasn't out getting sun, getting vitamin D. And on top of all that, throughout my childhood, I was diagnosed with depression and was given the SSRI Lexapro, which a quick search on the internet about SSRI's effect on puberty leads me to this, where it says SSRIs reduce longitudinal growth in boys that were treated with this antidepressant. SSRI use was most strongly inversely associated with height. So who knows, maybe I was meant to be 6'1". I would like to think so, being 5'11" is whack. It also opens the question, what if a child that is growing, especially during puberty, is given the perfect nutrition, the perfect supplementation, they go outside, they see the sun, they exert in physical exercise, they're competitive. It makes you wonder what the difference would be, a child like that versus a child like me or many other kids, which are worse off. You know, there's kids that are hitting puberty right now that are like 100 pounds overweight. They're probably more estrogen filled than I ever will be. As you know, I'm in the fitness space, and sometimes I have this conversation with friends that they're like, what if our puberty could have been way more optimized? For example, one of the things I don't really like about my physique is that I have small bones. I mean, I have tiny wrists, tiny ankles. My frame is lanky, but it's not big. And it leads the question to, what if the true potential of what I could look like, of my performance, of my natural capabilities, was diminished because of these exogenous influences on my hormone composition? And personally, I do believe that that will have a huge impact on the person you grow up to be. And it's kind of sad to think that we now live in a world, in a society where that is the common for most kids. That before I even transitioned to a man, I was already being loaded with chemicals that mess up my hormones, taking a chemical that alters my brain chemistry, being addicted to video games, being addicted to pornography. It's like, bro, what if my wiener could have been bigger? Like, alright, keep all the gains you stole from me, but you're telling me I could have been walking around with a... And obviously that's me being a little humorous, but your hormone composition as you're growing 100% affects your pee-pee size. A little tangent, but I'm pretty sure I actually saw on the news a father that applied like testosterone cream. He was on TRT, but he would apply it to his arm or something, or have it on his hands, and then hold his baby, and the baby started growing rapidly, and in the article it said he got a big wee-wee. It hurts to see others living your dream. It is honestly very crazy to think about the fact that this scenario I'm describing about having your kind of being fucked from the start is common, extremely common. It's probably the majority of kids. And the thing is, like, I hope some younger kids that are maybe not done growing watch this and become more conscious about what they eat, the supplements they take, the activities they do. But I'm sure some of you might be thinking, oh, Kenny, is this whole video just you coping about how you're 5'11 and skinny? No. The thing is, yeah, I can't go back and change anything about my past. To think about it too much, or to dwell on it too much, or to put these restricting beliefs that, oh, I'm limited in this way, would be stupid. Because yes, in reality, it's really not my fault for all these factors when I was such a young kid. I was a young kid, I didn't know any better. Like, why? I shouldn't have to. I just happened to be born in this age where this is a common problem. However, now that I am aware, and now that you are aware, it is our responsibility to take all the actions to optimize ourselves moving forward. Be extremely conscious of the supplements, of the medications you put in your body that affect all these different things inside you. Because the way I see it, I'm still just 21, and men don't really peak till they're like 30. I have so much time to become more disciplined, to instill more practices in my journey of self-improvement, to strive towards goals with my career, with finances, with just the way I live life, and to understand that my circumstances may not be my doing, but how I react to them and how I capitalize on them is completely my responsibility. It's crazy because I didn't even touch on about how like modern school and how it affects boys and how it's all full of female teachers that tell you to sit down and shut up when you are a young man, full of energy, full of testosterone, and your brain is still developing. But a video about the education system could be a whole video in itself, and there's plenty of videos probably out there already about it. I hope this is making you think. I didn't script this video whatsoever. I literally just turned on the camera and put this mic here and started going. So if you have anything to add to this discussion or just your own personal experiences, please leave a comment. I love reading the comments. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. That's doing more for the algorithm than a like ever could. If you're interested in this topic and want to further listen to this discussion, then click this video where I describe why modern society is making men weaker than ever.